Let's get straight into it. H22 and H23. The H22 and H23, Honda's Prelude engines. The H22 made between 190 and 200 horsepower depending on the version, 190 on the earliest USDM H22A1, up to 200 on later variants. But the consistent complaint across the board is weight. These engines are significantly heavier than the B-Series or K-Series Honda was producing at the same time. That weight hurts your handling balance, it limits what you can do with tuning, and the aftermarket support is simply not there the way it is for a B18C or a K20A. And when people talk about weight in an engine, they are not just talking about numbers on a spec sheet, they mean you feel it. The front of the car sits heavier, turn-in feels slower and more reluctant, the whole driving experience suffers for it. The Prelude was supposed to be Honda's sporty coupe, and the engine working against the chassis is a big part of why it never quite delivered that promise the way the B-Series cars did. The H23 VTEC specifically, a rare JDM-only engine that most North American buyers never encountered, developed a reputation for oil consumption and internal wear over time. Piston slap, noisy valve train, and if you are pushing the engine hard without staying on top of maintenance, those VTEC solenoids will start failing on you. Parts availability today is genuinely difficult, and the prices have climbed to reflect that scarcity. Heavy, oil-hungry, limited parts, expensive to fix, not a combination anyone wants when they open their wallet. So those are the annoying engines, heavy, limited, let you down with age. But the next one has an actual confirmed factory defect. And hey, real quick, if you are finding this useful, go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. C-Series V6, C27A, and C32A. The C-Series V6 engines, C27A and C32A, found in the Honda Legend, the Acura Legend, and the mid-90s Honda Accord V6. Smooth, refined on the road, what you expected from a luxury Honda product. Now to be fair, many owners call these engines bulletproof when properly maintained. But that phrase is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Neglect the cooling system, skip the coolant changes, and these engines will overheat and blow head gaskets. The cooling system is the weak link, and when it goes, the head gasket follows. On top of that, timing belts, not chains, and an interference engine design. Miss that belt replacement interval, and you are looking at bent valves and a destroyed top end. Skip that service and the engine pays a serious price, and that matters because of the cost. A head gasket job on one of these engines is not cheap. You are looking at labor-intensive work on a cramped engine bay, and if the overheating warped the head, that price climbs further still. People have walked away from these cars because the repair estimate came back higher than what the car was worth. The cooling system going does not just hurt the engine, it can end the car entirely. Valve cover gaskets also leak with age, and the engine bay layout makes everything harder and more expensive to fix than it should be. So the C-Series punishes you for skipping maintenance. Fair enough. But the next engine punished owners who did absolutely nothing wrong, straight from the factory floor. R18 engine. This is the engine that went into base model Civics, and on paper it is just a simple inline-4. Nothing crazy about it, 140 horsepower. And it does technically have VTEC, but here is the catch. That VTEC is tuned purely for fuel economy. It kicks in at low RPM under light throttle to save gas. Push it hard, floor it, and you are never even in VTEC range. That is not what anyone means when they say a Honda has VTEC. It is like ordering a pizza and being told there is cheese, except it is hidden under the dough where you cannot taste it. But the real issue with the R18 is not just the underwhelming power output, it is the block cracking problem. The R18 developed a reputation for cracking at the back of the engine block, specifically near the oil-air separator and around the water pump area. We are talking about porous metal issues in early production runs that would cause antifreeze leaks and over time lead to full block failures. Honda ended up extending the warranty on the engine block to 10 years with unlimited mileage, which tells you everything you need to know. When the manufacturer is handing out a decade-long unlimited mileage warranty extension on a brand new engine, that is not confidence, that is damage control, pure and simple. Think about what that means for the person who bought this car. You do everything right, oil changes, regular maintenance, and one day coolant starts disappearing. You top it up. It disappears again. You go to the shop and find out the block itself is cracked, not something you caused, not something you could have prevented. just a car that left the factory with porous metal in the block. That is a completely different level of problem to anything caused by owner neglect. And here is what really stings about this one. Honda had built their whole identity around VTEC engines that people actually wanted to drive. The R18 felt like a step backwards from everything the brand stood for. Then Honda handed you 140 horsepower and basically said best of luck out there. Not a great Honda, not great at all. Honda cracked their own block from the factory. Pretty bad. But the next engine on this list affected over 1 million vehicles, triggered a class action lawsuit, and Honda still has not fully fixed it. L15B7 Turbo. Honda decided to go turbocharged to stay competitive with everyone else. And in theory, that is totally fine. The L15B7 is a 1.5-liter turbocharged four-cylinder that went into the 10th generation Civic and the CR-V. Decent power, good fuel efficiency, modern technology. Looks great on paper. Except here is what nobody was telling you at the dealership. In cold climates, or when you are doing a lot of short city trips where the engine never fully warms up properly, gasoline is mixed directly into the engine oil. Not a trace amount, enough to actually thin out the oil and destroy internal lubrication. That is called oil dilution, and it is exactly as serious as it sounds. You are running your engine on contaminated oil, and you would not even know it is happening until the damage is already done on the inside. What makes this particularly nasty is that there is no warning light for oil dilution. Your oil pressure light is not coming on, your car is not throwing a code, everything feels fine from the driver's seat while the oil is slowly being compromised. You check the dipstick and the level looks normal because the gasoline is making up the volume. Meanwhile, the internals are running on oil that has lost its ability to properly lubricate. By the time you actually know something is wrong, the wear has already happened. Honda eventually issued software updates and extended warranties in certain markets to address this. But even after those updates, owners were still reporting the same exact issue coming back. And because the engine is still relatively new, the full long-term picture is still developing, but what we have seen so far honestly does not inspire a whole lot of confidence. For an engine sold as this modern, efficient product, the real-world durability has some uncomfortable question marks sitting right around it. Please note that affiliate links are still to be observed. Over 1 million vehicles with an oil problem, Honda could not fully fix. That is bad. But nothing on this entire list comes close to what Honda's cylinder management system was doing, and in some cases is still doing, to engines and car people trusted. H23Y1 V6. This V6 went into the 2013 through 2017 Honda Accord. It came with something called VCM, Variable Cylinder Management. The whole concept was to deactivate cylinders under lighter driving loads to save on fuel consumption. Sounds reasonable in theory. Now, to be fair, the worst confirmed VCM damage, the class action lawsuit, the piston ring replacements, all of that was centered on the earlier 2008 to 2013 Honda vehicles running the older version of this system. Honda did revise it for the H25Y1, and most owners report fewer severe problems compared to those earlier cars. But here is the thing. The concept is still fundamentally flawed. The H35Y1 still deactivates cylinders. You still get uneven stress across the engine over time. Owners still report vibration and inconsistent running when VCM cycles on and off. And people are still buying aftermarket modules specifically to disable VCM on these engines. When owners are spending money to remove something the manufacturer built into their own engine, that is not a good sign, regardless of which revision it is. The underlying design problem was never actually fixed, it was just made slightly less bad. And the vibration is something people underestimate until they live with it daily. You are cruising on the highway, VCM kicks in and drops from 6 cylinders to 3, and the whole car gets this subtle shudder through the wheel and the seat. Over a short drive, it is tolerable. Over years of commuting, it becomes something you question every single time. And long-term, that uneven stress across the cylinder bank is exactly what causes the wear. Quiet, slow, invisible, but accumulating every time VCM cycles. That is why owners just disable it and move on. So there it is, R18 cracking its block, L15B7 mixing fuel into the oil, H35Y1 with VCM wearing itself out, C-Series leaking and overheating, H-Series heavy and oil-hungry with age. Honda has made genuinely great engines. The B18C, the K20A, the D16Y8 are absolute legends. but these 5 are the ones to know before any money changes hands. Drop in the comments which engine you have dealt with and what it cost you. I read every comment. If this video helped you avoid a bad purchase, hit that like button. It grows the channel more than most people realize. And if you are not subscribed yet, this video just walked you through 5 engines that could have cost you thousands. Support me in reaching my goal of 10K subscribers. See you next time.